What's up, Cougs? So today we're going to talk about something that has my blood boiling, and something that has very many of you frustrated as well. You guys know that we mostly try to keep the content on this channel pretty positive, and we focus on the good. So I'd appreciate it if you maybe extend me just a little grace and patience today. We certainly don't make videos like this often, but I do feel again that I need to say something. So today we're going to talk about the vulgar and anti-LDS chants heard at the recent BYU Oklahoma State basketball game, which is part of a bigger and more concerning pattern, because this isn't just a one-off situation. Shouting vulgar anti-LDS chants has now turned into an ongoing multi-year issue. It's happening across multiple sports. And I feel like the media is doing a terrible job at bringing attention to this issue and coming to the defense of people who are having their religion attacked. Now, I know this. It is easier to just avoid talking about these things. They are uncomfortable. Before I did this, I had to ask myself, does drawing attention to it just make it worse? But I will tell you right now, staying quiet and hoping that this just goes away isn't going to work. If you ignore the problem, it's going to just keep getting worse. You ever tried to ignore a problem with an appliance in your home or your car when you hear it making a funny noise? Does it ever just fix itself on its own? No, of course not. The only thing that is going to stop this is enough people standing up and defending the LDS community. And if you really want to help get the word out, you really need to take the time to watch the entire video. Because the more you watch, the further our message will be spread by the algorithm. And we're not making any money off this video. This channel is not monetized, so it's not about that. First off, I want you to think about this from a child's perspective. Imagine the perspective of a lifelong Cougar fan who has waited years to take their child to the game. They dress their 7-year-old in a royal blue jersey, maybe a replica of what the very players on the court or the field are wearing. They're excited. They're holding a Cougar tail and a Sprite, and they're looking forward to be able to watch their heroes in person. They walk into the stadium or the arena expecting a rivalry, expecting noise, expecting the thrill of Big 12 competition. But when things don't go the way that the fans in that stadium had hoped, the chanting starts. It's not just booing or standard fans yelling about the team's performance, but instead it's chants from hundreds, if not thousands, of young adults attacking that very child's faith. Now think about that kid's perspective. What did they do? These situations can have a much bigger impact on a child than many people realize. There is a psychological impact that goes far beyond the outcome of a football or basketball game. For a young mind, witnessing a mob united in hatred against your own family's core beliefs is traumatic. This behavior teaches children that religious bigotry is socially acceptable if the group is large enough. No one is being held accountable. Half-hearted apologies are coming out hours or days later from these colleges. And these kids deserve better than that. This is not what America is about. In fact, this is downright anti-American to behave in this kind of way and to attack somebody's religion. If I was a leader at Oklahoma State or Cincinnati or any other location where this has happened, if I was the president or the AD, I would be proactive in shutting this crap down. I'd tell our student fan base that this is completely unacceptable and un-American. I would tell them that we have cameras and microphones pointed at the audience at all times. And if they cross this line, we will identify them and we will permanently remove them from our university. And I wouldn't just stop there. We will post their names and those videos online as a warning to anyone else who crosses the line. We'd make them famous. And you know what else? This is the kind of thing that could follow them around for the rest of their lives. Because whenever you go look for a job and people start searching your names in background checks, it is going to be right there in the open for anyone to see. And the internet, as you guys know, is forever. So if they want to make these decisions, they better be able to live with the consequences of spreading hatred forever. And I know that's a harsh punishment. But you know what? They need to understand that there are consequences for crossing certain lines. Consequences for making BYU fans and their kids feel unwelcomed and hated for their religious beliefs. And those consequences are very severe. And just to be clear, I know that this isn't impacting the BYU players because the BYU players are strong. And these stupid chants are nothing compared to what their coaches have them prepared for. Many of them have faced far worse rejection or hostility during service and missions. But just because they handle it doesn't mean that they should have to. And it doesn't justify the colleges continuing to tolerate these behaviors from their student body. I've told you guys before, but I will say it again. What if these were anti-Jewish chants at these games? I'll tell you one thing. They would stop the game. They'd identify and kick people out immediately, right in the middle of the contest. The national media would swoop in covering the story. They would be calling people Nazis over it. It would be all over the news. And to be very clear, I'd be fine with that because that's exactly how it should be handled. Zero tolerance for attacking someone's religion. But my LDS friends deserve the same respect and concern. And I know what some of you out there are going to say, well, freedom of speech. But this goes well beyond freedom of speech. Just like you can't shout fire in a movie theater. You can't threaten people. You can't slander people. The thing about freedom of speech is your rights end where someone else's begin. And inside that setting, at a basketball game or football game, people have a right to attend without being religiously attacked. So I don't want to hear about freedom of speech. The law is very clear on this. So what should the average BYU fan or LDS member do in the face of increasing hostility? Well, for one, you've got to stand up and defend yourselves. We've crossed the line now with this happening more and more frequently. And silence and hoping it stops on its own isn't going to work. So it's time for folks to stand up. And it's time for people of high character and other faiths to stand up and help defend you as well. Because it may be you guys today, but we know from history that tolerating it and ignoring it just means it's coming for someone else next. And I respect the LDS faith, and I have many LDS friends, but I don't even necessarily feel like I'm defending LDS on this issue because these should be American values. The best thing you guys can really do is to keep living with Christ in your heart. Keep giving to charity. Keep up your generosity and kindness in the community. Keep helping people in need. Keep feeding the hungry. Basically, just keep proving the haters wrong. Because the more you live by his teachings, the more people will respect your faith. And doing this disarms and undermines those with negative messages. And it proves who the good guys really are. Anyway, I know today's video was more serious, and for that, I will apologize. I usually like to keep it a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more optimistic, and about football specifically. And we promise you we will get back to that. Appreciate you guys a ton for watching. And wouldn't mind if you guys took a moment to share this with somebody who you think may enjoy the video today. And we'll see you guys on the next one.